Welcome back to the Hub Podcast. I'm your host, El Master. As every week, we bring new people to the show that have amazing talents that are doing great things in the community. Today, we have a privileged special guest that I've only met her twice, and this is one of them today. I met her at Gracie Mansion, celebrating the Dominican Independence celebration. And, you know, I was impacted by her bio. She's a mother, she's a marathon runner, she's a CEO of a company. She has another job with the city. She's a social entrepreneur, and so many hats that she's wearing. It's an amazing story, and I think I want to share with you guys especially. And she's here today to share her story as well, from her point of view, obviously. And welcome to the show, Ivon Silver.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here.
So, native from the South Bronx.
Yes.
You made it out. You were not a statistic, like they said. You made it out. Oh, and I forgot to mention, you were also into modeling at one point, or some or contests of. Well, we'll touch base on that.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your, growing up in the Bronx. Dominican parents.
Yeah.
How tough was that? I mean.
Yeah. I mean, listen, South Bronx, right? Born in the South Bronx, to Dominican immigrant parents who came here not knowing the ropes, not having people to help them. And so they did the best that they could with the best that they had, right? Like all of us children of immigrants. And I went to public school throughout, from kindergarten to college. And as you can imagine, it's not an easy task, you know what I mean? It's a lot to deal with, like your parents navigating parenting, your parents navigating being in a new country where they don't speak the language, and then trying to raise children on top of that. If you're a parent,
Definitely.
like that by itself is just insane.
I mean, we see how much an environment has an impact on everyone. I'm just growing in the South Bronx. I can imagine, obviously, violence, drugs,
Right.
Those things too that were surrounding you, and for you to come out of there and blossom,
Thank
it's
you.
an amazing story. I mean, just by looking at your bio, obviously, your process, going through college and what you always wanted to be who you are now, or are you working towards what was your goal coming out of the Bronx?
That's interesting that you say that, because when I was a little girl, I always wanted to be a teacher.
A teacher.
That was my thing. Like, as a little girl, I was always playing teacher. We had a board, and I always had two bags, one for the books and one for my personal stuff. Because that's what I always saw teachers, they had two bags.
Correct.
So I always had two bags. I was always playing teacher. That was my thing. And, two influential people in my life. I think I was like 12 years old, fast forward 12 years old. They pretty much told me that being a teacher is not going to pay you. You're going to live a miserable life. It's just not a good path to go in. And so immediately, that idea of being a teacher, it just was removed.
Oh, wow.
It was just removed, and I lost, that whole passion for that.
Okay.
But I love life because it's led me back to the idea of teaching. For so many years, like I said, that was out of my mind, out of my heart. And now I know, after going through everything that I've gone through, and I'm still reinventing myself, I understand that that's my calling, to teach. Was it always? Did I think I was always going to be where I'm at today? Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Correct.
Like I never even spoke like when I was a little girl.
Correct. That's one of the things I wanted to ask you. On your
Yeah.
homepage, it says from a person who didn't want to speak or didn't speak much.
Right.
Now you're, a social person and a speech. What do you call it?
Yeah.
You're
Like a speaker.
You're a public
yeah.
speaker. How did you evolve into that? What was that process of? Did it just switch on from one day to the next? I have so many things to say. I've never spoke. I'm going to say it now.
Exactly.
Is that what it was?
Listen, I'm going to sit here and tell you everything. No. But the truth is that my parents, they were always involved in community affairs, if you will. Like, they were part of the parent teacher association, like the city council for like the school district, like. They were just always involved doing things for the community. And so my siblings and I, we grew up seeing that. So that was normal for us. My dad always spoke in public. Like, he was heavily involved in politics. And so he was always going to events, creating events. My parents, for about 10 years, if you're from Dykeman, my parents, for 10 years, they held a literary contest where they had students in New York City public schools write an essay, pretty much, about the Dominican independence.
Okay.
And so like when you put all of that together, I learned about community organizing, event planning, public speaking, you know, all of those things that you need that I'm pretty much leveraging now.
Correct.
Without even realizing it. But my parents normalized that for me since I was a kid. So it kind of just like, it was always there. It was just dormant.
I understand.
You know? And to add on to that, I grew up in a very traditional Dominican old school household where, you know, whatever dad says, that's what goes.
No longer the case. No longer the case. Not in my household.
You know what I mean?
Speak
Like
last.
it's his way or the highway. So like he made all the decisions for us, you know. So there were a lot of little skills that I never developed until recently. And when I say recently, I mean like a year ago, 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
Believe it or not. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so it's been a beautiful ride, and I've allowed myself the space, the grace, and the time to understand that I don't have it all figured out, but
Correct.
even if I don't, I'm still gonna continue to push forward.
I
And
understand.
we're gonna figure it out.
Correct.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
part of that process, was that part of the process? Did you get any professional training? Did you go to school for that? Did you, you know, follow a mentor, somebody, you know, teach you like you have to, this is how you do it? Or is it, you know, was there a process of, you know,
Yeah, I
you
would
figure it
say,
out?
yeah, I definitely, so like I said, my parents for sure. One thing I could say is that I was always really good at learning from other people's mistakes as a kid.
Okay.
I don't know, call me an old soul, but that was always something that I was able to catch from other people. So there were like a lot of things that I even saw from my mom and my dad that they didn't do so well, even if they tried. And I'm like, all right, I'm not doing that.
I understand.
Okay, I'm doing that. You know, reading a lot of books.
That helps a lot.
Yeah. Growing up, that wasn't normal. And again, that's something that I've had to develop over the years, like
Right.
reading, like being able to concentrate and reading a book that wasn't, you know, normal. But definitely looking at other people who are already doing, other mothers, other social entrepreneurs, other public speakers, looking at what they've done and how, like, just learning from their trajectory and not reinventing the wheel.
I
You know,
understand.
just kind of like picking and choosing.
And tell me about the modeling stage. Was it like in your teens or in your
yeah.
20s, or was it Belleza Latina? Was it something big?
Yeah, it was both. So when I was 12 years old, my mom had put us in modeling school, my sister
Okay.
and I.
Okay.
And, you know, we didn't think anything of it. I thought it was just my mom, you know, my brother played baseball, you know, so my mom
Oh, wow.
put us in modeling, you know, kind of thing. So we didn't think anything of it. Of course, life plays out the way it should. Years later, I ended up competing in a beauty pageant, and I
Okay.
represented Santo Domingo
Okay.
in Miss RDUS. And then the following year, I was invited to be a coordinator. So I went from being a participant to holding a leadership role. And it was interesting because I didn't win the crown. I didn't even top in the top 15. Y
Okay.
uno no es feo. ¿Tú me entiendes? But I didn't
Entiende
top in
por
the
lo bueno.
top 15. No, we'll talk about that another day. But it was interesting because, you know, I went from a participant to holding a leadership role, which that was more for me.
Correct,
You know, that
correct.
was like more of a win for me than actually winning the crown.
Correct. And one of the things that you not to mention, touch up based on that I saw in your videos, like sometimes people have certain ideas about what they want to do and don't want to do it. And if you just make up your mind about doing something, you don't know what path it may lead you to.
Literally.
Part
Yeah.
of that process, obviously, you go from, you know, beauty pageants and getting a real job. You know, I think in the banking system, Citibank, you worked
Yeah.
for 6 years.
Yeah,
I did my research.
You did. You read. Shoot.
I'm not a creep. I'm just doing it for this.
I'm doing my job.
You know what I'm saying? But transitioning into building your own organization, is it a non-for-profit or
Yes,
it is?
yes.
What is it's
So
called?
I have two. I have a non-for-profit and then a for-profit LLC.
Okay.
Because they serve different purposes. So the non-profit is more to serve, obviously to serve the community, and then my LLC is for like side gigs that I'm doing individually. So like so for example, next month I'm doing my first international seminar in the Dominican Republic.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, they're paying me, but they're paying my LLC. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
I
So
see.
that's like, so that's why I keep it.
So you're getting paid
separate.
just to talk.
Just to talk,
Oh,
my
man.
friend.
I'm in the wrong
those
business.
Those are God-given gifts, you know, and talents, and that's what from reading so many books and doing all this research and learning about healing. Literally, we can get paid for our gifts and talents.
Correct.
You know, as long as I feel like as long as there's a genuine and intentional exchange, Like you're not just out here talking to hear yourself talk,
Correct.
but to actually impact and change people's lives, then there's an exchange, right? Because you're giving
Correct.
yourself, and so you should be receiving something. You know,
Definitely.
like naturally, life will give you something in return.
Right. So kids, if you're watching, you can get paid to talk. Free tickets
Just
to the Dominican
practice,
Republic.
right? Read books.
They get your
reading of
hotel,
books.
pool, kids.
He's not lying. He's not lying. So listen.
So what is it that we talk about? What did you talk about? What are you trying to inspire people?
Yeah.
Inspirational? Is it more like mental issues? What's your forte, as they say?
Yeah, so it started off, I thought it was mental health. It involves mental health, but that's not the subject, if you will. I talk more about generational healing. And I went through that after I had my son. After I realized how important, you know, the weight that it is to be a parent, to be a mother.
Correct.
I'm like, this is bigger than me. And so it was like a divine, I just understood that my son won't be good unless I'm good.
Correct. That is definitely true.
And I was like, oh, okay. That means I need to try and become the best version of myself, because if you're here, your child will be here, right? Like they will only receive what you're able to give, whether that's good, whether that's bad. But it's up to us as parents to like have that self-awareness to say, okay, I got to do better in this area, And so that's what I talk about. That's what I teach other people. And I also created my own framework, which is called the Silver Lining Framework.
Silver lining flavor.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's like a little bit of my last name, but also the silver lining has a meaning.
Gotcha. Marketing at its best. Marketing at its best.
Okay.
I want to talk to you about that last name, Silver.
Listen.
Where does that come from? That's not Dominican.
It's not.
A Jewish last
It
name.
is. It
It
is
is,
a Jewish last name.
Okay.
Yeah, and I could tell you about that next. So the framework that I created,
Correct.
like I said, was based off of what I went through, right? But it's also research. Like I've been doing research on neuroscience, like epigenetics, the study of how like whatever our great-great-grandparents went through is embedded in our DNA and is affecting us today.
What?
Yeah, like
man.
deep. I'm talking about deep. You know what I mean?
Epigenetics. What is that? What is that?
I just said it in the easiest way.
Okay,
I
I see. Like your program, your DNA is programmed for you to act a certain way. Is what you're saying.
Correct.
Oh wow.
And so if we don't build self-awareness about our strengths, our weaknesses, the patterns, good patterns, bad patterns, then we're going to basically continue to do all the things that our great-grandparents did.
So does that get into that subject? Does that mean what we do now is going to be programmed into our kids' or offsprings going forward?
Yes, sir.
And in their DNA?
That is correct.
Oh, wow.
That's
deep.
correct.
That's deep.
Yeah.
That's deep.
So when I understood that, that's when I was like, I need to change. I need to change because that's gonna affect the generations to come. But it's a reality that not too many people want to do, right? In reality, nobody wants to change.
Yeah, it's hard to look at yourself. Yeah, correct.
We're all very comfortable in our skin, in our space, in our routine. You know, if somebody tells you need to change something, right away, defense mechanism.
Correct.
What do you mean? I'm good. I pay my bills. I take care of my kids. I'm good. I'm not doing anything wrong. I don't hurt nobody. You know, immediately we think but there's so much underneath the surface that because we work so much, because we take care of our kids, all of those things get lost in the sauce.
Correct.
So in my framework, what I teach people, what I teach my clients is it's a 4-pillar framework. So the first one is self-awareness.
Okay.
Right? Like looking yourself in the mirror and being honest with yourself. All right, Ivon. And I had to do that plenty of times. Like, all right, literally look at myself in the mirror. All right, Ivon. You have to.
Correct.
You have to change, right? You have to do better in this. We have to, right? So the first one is self-awareness. Once you build self-awareness about the areas that you need to do better in, you're able to build and tap into your identity, your true identity. Not the identity that my parents, immigrant parents in the South Bronx conditioned and normalized for me, but who I really was born to be, which was a teacher.
Correct. Oh, wow.
Had I listened to what they said, I would have not been here teaching what I'm telling you today.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
So that's identity. I have to stay true to my identity now that I have the self-awareness of who I am. So that's pillar number 2. Then once you're able to build and understand your self-identity, you are able to be more intentional about your life and the decisions that you make. That's when I decided, all right, I need to do better for my son. I need to tap into my highest self, whatever that is, whatever it's going to take, that's what I have to do. So pillar number 3, intentionality. Once you're able to walk intentionally, you start to shed people off, certain people that you used to get along with, you don't really like align anymore. And it's not anything negative, it's just you're in a different space. You know what I mean? You're in a different space naturally. All love, but you're just in a different space. And so then that leads you to being more aligned with your highest self. And that's pillar number 4, alignment. So it's self-awareness, self-identity, intentionality, and alignment.
Amazing. So this is the things you put together.
Yes, I put that together from scratch. I went through a whole, I hit a very low point myself. And what I learned from that was that the same degree that you fall is the same degree that you rise.
Correct.
So when I learned that, I'm like, oh, nah, it's up from here.
Correct. And it's interesting that all those things that you mentioned, it's like a stepping stone to building a better relationship with everyone else.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Because then now you understand your position in your life.
Yes.
And you understand where everybody else is coming from.
Yeah.
And maybe help them out if you can, which is what you're doing with the community. How's that process of, do you talk to young people? Do you talk to older people? Do you talk to business people?
Yeah.
Who's your group that you sit down and try to help?
So honestly, I'll speak to whoever is ready to have the conversation, mostly parents and entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Right? Because being an entrepreneur, it's a very hilly, very ups and downs. Same thing with parenting. Of course, there are other roles in life that are also, ups and downs, but those are like the 2 main types of clients that I have. Whenever I get in front of youth, I'm more of like talking about financial literacy and entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So those are like the areas where
So when you go to Dominican Republic now, you'll be speaking on...
Oh, on healing. Yeah,
on
generational healing. Like what I just mentioned about
the
my
4 pillars?
framework.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'll be going to give a seminar out there
Interesting.
for.
Do you get a lot of offers like that, or these are the first ones that you're going?
These are the first ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
So someone saw you speak somewhere and like, let's book her.
Yeah, literally. Like kind of similar to what you did. Like she saw my Instagram, or she just happened to pass by my Instagram. Then she saw the YouTube, and she saw the seminar that I did here in Yonkers last year. And so, she just reached out, and I'll be giving my first seminar.
That's amazing. Congratulations,
Thank
guys.
you.
You're an inspiration for anyone who's, like I said earlier, who's sitting at home, so thinking about it. Mm-hmm. These are possibilities, doors that can open for you.
Absolutely.
So let's touch base on this, obviously the more important part of your life, which is being a mother.
Yeah.
How has the challenge been? Obviously, kids nowadays have more freedom than what we had.
Yeah, for sure.
How's that challenge of, raising your son and managing all these jobs that you have and all these responsibilities? Mm-hmm. Obviously, putting him first, or put yourself first, and then him second, and then the rest of your jobs and responsibility. How's that challenge? How do you manage that?
Yeah, honestly, it is a challenge. Absolutely, I have to say that it's a challenge, and it's not easy.
Correct.
Some days I'm like, backwards. I'm like, what is life? What is this? But one thing that's helped me is my calendar.
Oh, calendar.
I live by my calendar. Like, if I have to pick something up in the bodega across the street, that baby's on my calendar. The time, the day, you know what I mean? As much as I can, obviously. Some things happen, but like the more serious things, I try to put it on my calendar. Then recently what I've understood is that I can't say yes to everybody and everything. So like I've been removing myself, from certain offers, if you will.
Okay.
Just so that I can stay aligned and intentional about what I'm doing. And honestly, like being a mother, what it's taught me is to live in the moment. Live in the moment and really just like if you look at kids are the best teachers.
Correct.
They are the best teachers in the existence of life forever and
They're
ever.
brutally honest.
They're brutally honest. They live in the moment. They're just, you could, if your son or my son wants this now, and I tell him no, he's gonna cry for 30 minutes. But in 1 hour, he's gonna be running back to me like I just bought him ice cream without having to buy him ice cream. You know, like
understand.
they forget. You know, so they live very like a very light life, if you will.
Yeah.
And so what I've learned from my son is that very thing. You know, I was never like that before. I was very much like, I always wanted to be in control. I wanted to know what's happening now, tomorrow, very strategic, plan every little second. And now I'm just like, yo, life is gonna take you where you need to go. You don't have to control everything. You know, everything's gonna play out. Everything's gonna play out. So that's really what motherhood has taught me. And honestly, balancing and being able to manage all of these hats, like I said, just my calendar, and making sure that the offers that I do say yes to are aligned to my passion, to my vision, and to who the Ivon that I see 5-10 years from now.
Right.
You know, anything outside of that, I don't even look at it.
Right. I mean, when you look at you know, obviously the challenges of motherhood, the situation where you are now. I mean, you mentioned your parents being, you know, kind of the builders of your life for a long time. And well, now that you're in a different level of life, a different light, do you have any new mentors or friends or colleagues that you are working with? Because obviously not everybody does everything by themselves, you know.
Right.
I have my partner here, Chris, that's behind the scenes that nobody sees, but you know.
Right.
It's you need a team. Do you have a team now that you rely on for certain things?
Yes. I actually built a team this year because, like I said, everything is new. I'm still reinventing. So I literally built a team this year for that same reason, because like I said before, I wanted to be in control of everything. And what I've learned is just that you need to trust other people if you truly trust yourself. And your team will be as good as you lead them to. So it's not about not trusting other people or thinking that other people can't make it happen. It's trusting yourself. You know, trusting myself to choose the right people, that they're equipped, and that they'll make it happen. And just, you know, like I said, learning from the kids, just letting go, and everything will play out.
Correct.
You know.
One of the toughest challenges that I have, you know, I have my own shop as well, is being able to handle like negative personalities, like the people you always present something to, and like, no, that's not gonna work. Oh, that's not gonna fail.
Yes.
Like every single time. How do you deal with those situations? Like, I think I'm a positive person, and trying to. It's like it gets me to that point. I'm like, you're always saying no. Like, do you ever say yes, like to anything?
Yeah.
How that? I think that's one of the biggest challenges as a leader, is trying to convince other people that maybe your way or maybe what you're thinking might work. So how do you? What would you recommend? Personal, you know, consultation here when in regards to those things.
You know what's so interesting? When I was driving over here, I was thinking about that, how important it is to, like, you need to be very intentional about who you're telling your plans. And actually, I was having a discussion about that with my brother, J.O. Shout out to J.O. for putting this together. He's actually a mentor of mine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
okay, so he's part of your team. Okay.
Well, he's not part of my team, like that's helping me with my company.
Okay.
But he's a mentor, and he knows that I see him as one, because you know everything that he's been doing.
Jonathan Alvarez, 914 United.
Listen, when I moved to Yonkers, building community was important for me, and I saw what he was doing. This was 5 years ago when he had just started. But I reached out to him. I'm like, listen, I love what you're doing. I'm new here in Yonkers. I'm trying to build community. If you need a volunteer, hit me up.
I hope you're watching.
Yeah. You know, and he's a mentor. And actually, after he got his executive master, shout out, he got his executive master MPA at Baruch College. Getting my master's was an idea that I was playing with. And now, because of Jonathan, because he's a brother, because he's a mentor, because he's a leader, I'm like, you know what? But that's the kind of people you want around. People that are gonna be like, you know what? Yeah, shake it off. Go ahead. Do something bigger. Do something greater. You know what I mean? That's the kind of people that you want to have around. And Jonathan is definitely one of those. But then going back to your question about dealing with people who are the opposite, who like don't want to see you win, who don't understand your vision and your passion. Before I didn't understand that, and I would tell everybody everything that I was thinking about, like when it came to like even business ideas, and people like my family, they wouldn't understand, and that would like break my heart. And I'd be like, but I'm telling you something great. Like you should be like, yes, go, you know, cheer me on.
Watch my podcast.
Opposite. Right, like come on,
hit like.
Hit like, come on, at the very least. You know what I mean? But now that I'm in a more healed space, and I'm able to understand that people will project onto you their own insecurities.
Correct.
So somebody, if you were to tell me an idea, I'd be like, yo, all right, yeah, do it. Actually, I know somebody that could help you. Here's what worked for me. You know what I mean? So I'm just very intentional about who I tell things to. So you need to be in a leadership role. You know, if you're a parent, how do you treat your kids? You know what I mean? Like, I'm very intentional about who I tell things to, because, you know, these gifts that we're given, they're God-given, and we have to protect them. And so when you just share it, you know, the Bible says you can't give your pearls out to pigs. You can't be sharing things with everybody.
The Bible says that?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, straight up. You know, and so one thing I would say to you is you really have to get, or anybody that's watching, you really have to become so, you really have to trust yourself to the extent where you know that you are your only cheerleader.
Oh, I know that for a fact.
Right? Like, when it comes to the nitty gritty, when you're by yourself, when you're running a 5K, it's you and your mind. You know what I mean? Like, unless you got headphones, it's you and your music, but it's you and your body and your legs and your feet.
Correct.
You know, at the end of the day, until you reach the finish line. So that's really what it is. It's the same.
It's a lonely space.
It's the same concept. It is.
And then when you make it big, everybody wants a piece of the pie. No, I'm just kidding.
You know what? No, it's the truth.
We'll find out when we get there.
It's the truth.
So you just mentioned marathons. You got involved into running. Were you always doing sports, or was it something that you like? Let me try this and let me see where it takes me.
Yeah, I did. I played softball in high school and a little bit in college. We couldn't form a team, but I played softball in high school, and it was the best thing. It was like the only thing that I missed in high school. And so I had to run. We had to run. And so when I did the beauty pageant, I had to go back to running and staying fit. And so running was always there, like subconsciously. Again, everything is there. When I was a teacher, even though the thought left when I was 12, it was always there. You know what I mean? Like running, it was always there. And so fast forward 2020, I did my last pageant. That's when I did the last pageant. And I joined the run club. And so once I joined the run club, they train you, you meet community, you meet other runners. And so they helped us train to do marathons. And now I'm doing my first international marathon in October. And that's also going to be in Santo Domingo. Yeah.
Watch out for the heat.
So yeah, it's real. It's about to get real.
So one of the things that I think is obviously I'm Dominican as well, detriment to our Dominican community is that we don't really help each other as much as other, nationalities may. We're like our biggest, enemies at times. Eso no va para ningún lado. Tú estás inventando demasiado.
Sí.
It's like so many words, so many sayings that you're like, I can't really count on these people.
On my own people.
These people are my people.
Right.
So
it's real.
I think one of the toughest challenges, especially younger people like you and Jonathan, I think, and working together somehow, not just doing what everybody else is doing, but at least come up together every year for some special event, and build some type of bond that our youth could see. These guys are young and they're doing it.
Right.
You guys have to be an inspiration. So because, obviously, I think now we don't hardly have any people in our community as far as special leaders. I mean, you see the void in, I don't want to get into politics, but politics itself there's a big void of representatives or community members or any type of politician that could really represent our needs as far as minorities are concerned. So I think that's I'm throwing it out there in the universe. Talk to Jan and anyone else who's involved around your circle. To just meet, at least do a little conference, and bring up ideas, and then maybe build something that we can inspire others to be the next Ivon Silver, to be the next Jonathan Alvarez. Right. Because we're all concentrating on our own little, base, but we are somehow a team. Somehow we're all still linked together somehow or another. Any other projects that you're working on that you want to share with our audience here, as far as your projections of, like you said, 5 years, 10 years from now? What are we looking at maybe next year? What are your next challenges for Ivon?
Yeah, I would say in the fall, in the first week of November, I'm doing my second leadership seminar. The first one I did it in the Yonkers Library last year.
Okay.
And so we're doing it again now in November. So look out for that for sure. You know, I'll be putting up flyers and stuff like that. So that's coming up. But like I said, I have the seminar. So that'll be my first international seminar in Santo Domingo next month.
Spanish or English?
It'll be in Spanish.
Okay.
Yeah, completely in Spanish. And then the marathon, which will also be in Santo Domingo in October. And then we'll have the leadership seminar in November.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about your future plans going forward, or you don't want to?
In the future, yeah.
Like 5-10 years from now, what do you think?
Oh my gosh, honestly, you know.
Have you thought about those things, or are you still moving? In your calendar base.
In the calendar, honestly, like a little bit of both. I've been, like I said, trying to learn to just like be in the now and you know things. You know, plan a year or two, whatever. But I mean, 5 years from now, I definitely want another child.
Okay.
I definitely, you know, my son, the greatest teacher gift. Like, I'm like, if he made me a better person, like imagine otro. You know what I mean? Like you're just otra, you know? So I definitely see myself having more kids, maybe 1 or 2.
Okay.
It depends how the world is because, you know, everything, I don't know. But I definitely see myself having more. I say this for fun, but I'm also like not afraid to say it. Like I don't know, maybe I might run for office for fun.
Oh, okay. Locally here in Yonkers or in the city? What would you, or the state,
either.
Wherever it's open, you're gonna.
Yeah. Just because of what you said, you know what I mean? The marathon, I'm already doing that. That was like a check. Oh, one thing I definitely want to do, I want to race, like a race
NASCAR?
car. Yeah, like on a closed circuit. Oh. That's definitely like a bucket list thing for me.
Okay.
So
if you like the
discounts, yes, I want to do that. You know, funny story. I had this is so bad, but when I was 6 months pregnant, there was this guy trying to like pass me in the highway, and I definitely raced him.
Okay.
But it was a short race. But I was like 6 months pregnant. I'm like, oh my God, Ivon, what are you doing?
Does your son know that?
I know. Like, and listen, he's like a little firecracker. Oh my God, I love it. But yeah, no, like 5 to 10 years from now, I just want to keep evolving. You know, getting closer to God, being an amazing mother, an amazing partner when I do get married. And just continuing to serve, really. That's what we're called to do.
Correct.
And that's what I plan to do. What it looks like, I don't know, but that's the goal, just to continue to serve.
Correct. And you know, that's very brave of you to get into politics. Because,
for fun, I said.
Things are going right now.
For fun.
For fun. You know, it's an inspiring story. What you shared with us today is an amazing. Not only a story, but I think it's amazing inspiration for younger kids and even older people that they came to this country and they work hard, whether it was a factory or a bodega, that they can see that their kids are going forward, and you're painting a beautiful picture coming out of the South Bronx. Thank you for coming to the South Broadway.
Oh yes, I love
From the
that.
south to the south.
Love that.
I hope you run around here because we need a lot of help around here, as you can see.
We need help everywhere, man.
No. But seriously speaking, thank you for your time. Thank you for coming over. Thank you, Jonathan, for making this happen.
Yes.
Like I said, this is the second time I meet you, and I feel like I know you already because of so many things that you shared. And I'll be touching base because I need help. Some little touches here and there.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Let's make it happen.
Some capital.
Some funding, absolutely. Let's make it happen.
And hopefully we'll be working together somehow in some capacity. Maybe we'll run a marathon and we'll see you somewhere else.
Yes.
God knows. But I think this is a good start for you as far as expanding your skills to the world, because obviously you're already going to travel, even if it's DR, but your own country. But you never know where it's going to take you. Might be speaking in Spain or Mexico or, and we'll be following you online.
I love that. Thank you.
Interviewed her.
I appreciate that. Thank
and I have to pay her.
Well,
I got you this cup. I got you a cup. Hold on.
Oh my God, yes.
So we make tumblers here.
Oh my God.
So and then you.
I'm out.
There you go.
Two
So-
sides, okay? And I got the QR for my Instagram.
There you go.
I'm gonna show up to work styling.
From Yonkers Hub.
Okay.
Mer-
Courtesy of Yonkers
quick question
Hub,
before I
470
forget.
South Broadway.
The last name, Silver, where does it come from?
Oh yeah, so Silver is a Jewish last name.
Okay.
My great grandparents came from. They landed in Sosua.
Oh,
Remember?
okay.
So
Yes.
during right. So they were refugees, and Trujillo was one of the only presidents that was allowing refugees from Nazi Germany into the country.
Correct.
And so my family, they were refugees.
Oh, wow.
yeah,
That's an amazing
Jewish.
story.
Yeah, and another fun fact, Jonathan's grandfather and my grandfather worked together.
No way.
And now we're here. with
Amazing
their
story.
grandchildren's-
Amazing story.
Yeah, and they were both leaders, you know what I mean?
Correct,
in their
correct.
country. My
So-
my grandfather worked for the government. He was an English professor back in the 50s, you know,
So-
and now their grandchildren are here in
So
Yonkers.
what was that word that you talked, epidemiology or something?
Epigenetics.
So epigenetics is actually working, people.
Epigenetics.
Look at them.
In the flesh.
Those DNA's just found.
Yes, wild.
The child in the
Wild.
future. Amazing story.
Wild.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for, like I
Thank you
said,
so
to South
much
Broadway.
For having me. Thank
Anytime
you for the
you
gift.
want-
I love this.
Anytime you want to
Thank
share your
you.
story, anything that's happening in the world that you're experiencing in DR, you're more than welcome
I
to come
love
back.
that. Thank
And you know, we'll touch base on Instagram and social media, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you again for coming to the Hub podcast.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Happy to be here.
All
We'll
right,
see you guys
guys.
on the next
Guys,
one.
we'll see you on the next one. We have some interesting, hopefully working on some very interesting. I mean, I can't even say what I'm going to say because it's like I want it to happen, but hopefully we'll have very important. I can't say it. I can't say it. People, not everybody's important, but you know, people
no,
of
it's all
status
good.
that may be coming to our show. So I'll give you
Nice.
a preview to that hopefully in the next couple of weeks. Again, thank you for joining the Hub podcast. I'm Master.